mes amis, hi guys, SBGA413, the spring edition of the Four Seasons collection of Grand Seiko Spring Drive. It was only for the US market, but now they're available here in Hong Kong, and this one had such impact on me, such emotional content that I decided to take it for a ride, or maybe I should say a drive, or I should say a spring drive. This one inspired by how the cherry blossoms fall into the rivers for the motif on the dial. Now, if you've been looking at watching some Grand Seiko videos of the past 2 years, you've noticed most people, most of the YouTubers start getting a bit cynical about Grand Seiko. We know what they do great, and we know what their shortcomings are. And if I was to draw a useless but telling comparison to cars, is the same as this would be the Lexus of watches compared to Rolex being the Mercedes. Mercedes, you can't go wrong. It has immediate appeal and a timeless look, while the Lexus is more tech heavy. You kind of have to explain people why you chose that, and you know you made a good choice, you know you have a good car, but it doesn't have the same sex appeal, let's call it, and it's the same here. I think some Grand Seiko watches look a bit nothing special from a distance. The reason why I went for this one is that pretty much everything I love in the Grand Seikos. Of course, it's got the spring drive, partially obscured by a useless medallion at the back, but a really beautiful movement, ultra accurate, and I mean really to it's almost zero here after they pretty much zero. Of course, here you have an amazing dial. So this one is the Shunbun, the spring edition, and while the presentation on the Grand Seiko website had it looking quite pink, to catch the pink is a bit reminiscent of the cherry blossom itself. You know, it doesn't last long. I used to live in Japan. It was a great moment. Every time, you never get tired of it. It's very poetic, very romantic. It feels great to see them, but they last just a few days, a few short weeks if you're lucky, if the weather is reasonably good in when is it, late March, early April, and then they disappear. So every time you catch a glimpse of a cherry tree in Tokyo turning into a street, it's always great. And here's the same. Most of the time the watch is going to be gray, so you keep on looking at it, and then here and there it will catch the light, and the pink hue will come through, but it's nothing like the marketing presentation of Grand Seiko. As you know, I had seen the winter edition, which is the other spring drive, the other two being mechanicals, I believe, the summer and the autumn, and I really liked it a lot. But one thing I didn't like was the Reo, the Rehaut, to say it in English pronunciation, the mini track there around the watch, which I don't think is very elegant. It works a bit better on this one, but I would have preferred to have the mini track printed. Having said that, it would make the dial bigger, and here the dial being pushed on the inside makes the watch wear smaller. It's not a big watch, it's 40 millimeters, only a 12.8 height. I say only compared to the rest of the Grand Seiko watches, which tend to be a bit thick, and I think it's 47 lug to lug, so really wears easy. This is my favorite case. It's called a 62GS, reference to an old watch from the catalog. It is the nicest case. I remember seeing it for the first time when we interviewed Johnny Guitar and saw his collection. It's a bezel-free case, so really interesting to see a watch without a bezel, and the beautiful lines on the case, really nicer than the Snowflake, which was my first spring drive, and it's great to have spring drive again, just mesmerizing. So is the finishing on the beautiful hands and indices. You know, Grand Seiko, perfection. You have the golden logo. Yes, you have the power reserve on the dial side. It doesn't bother me. I think it works. and the date. I like it as well. Really, technically, it's a great watch. And wears amazing, as you know. Yeah, the bracelet is still the same as before. Not great, not bad, and still no bit of adjustment in the clasp. Not even a couple of anchoring points, which are so welcome, you know, to be honest, on watches. But anyway, it's easy to open, easy to close. And of course, everything is titanium, so the whole watch here is only 93 grams after removing 3 links. So we'll take it for a spring drive, for a ride, and see how we get on with it. I don't think you can really compare it to Rolex and all that. It's in a league of its own. And yes, they will release more dial options. We know that's the one thing about Grand Seiko, they never stop. But at one point you have to stop and stare and pick one. And for now, this is this absolutely delicious spring edition spring drive with my favorite case, which looks very muscular actually, especially with the dial sort of pushed in by the rehaut. It makes it even more muscular looking. But I like that in a watch. It has to have character. To go back to what I was saying earlier on, a lot of the Grand Seiko watches lack a bit of character. It has to be somewhat ugly to be interesting. And I think this achieves that. Let me know what you think about this very, very fascinating piece. I'll leave you with another close-up of the wonderful dial. Thank you for watching, guys. Bye-bye.